Okay, so now let's take a look at how this template is put together in the Template Studio. And this is a standalone application. You can see it's very Excel-like. We're just working with standard workbook formatting here. And this studio is also available as an Excel add-in if you have Excel installed on the machine where you're designing. Okay, so now let's say, for example, I wanted to add a trend chart into this report. So I can stretch this row out here. I can use XLReporter's chart wizard, select that I want a line chart, for example, set my two pens, say, to my two flow meters here, and then set my x-axis to the date and time, and then I will enable header rows, and I can stick the chart right in the top of the report. And I've mapped the chart to the first two data rows, because as you can see with the connection, which determines how the data is placed, the connection is taking the tags I define in the library wizard and a timestamp column, arranging them across this range here, starting in B10, and it's using the insert placement type, which is then going to expand this area here as the data gets added. If you've ever inserted rows in Excel, you'll notice that all your features like charts and formulas will sync up automatically based on those insertions. So that's how the engine will automatically handle report cycles of different durations. So now let me save my changes to the template here. And I'm going to go in and stop my cycle. And now I'm going to change to a new cycle name, so I get a new report. Apply that, and then I'm going to trigger another report cycle here, just by toggling trigger back to 1. We'll see a new one is started here, and we'll begin getting more 10-second data. And if we go and check out the Workbook Reports viewer, here's our new report. Every 10 seconds it's going to add more data. Oh, I'm on the wrong sheet here. So if I look at the TEF cycle, you can see the charts in there, and it's now collecting more data as we go. Now, I can view this report just fine, either from XLReporter's report viewer or just by opening up the Excel file in the reports folder of the project. But what if I was running, say, like the Ewon HMI on the Ewon, and I wanted to actually load this report over there as a web page? Well, we can do that by first producing the report as a web page and then transferring it via FTP over to the Ewon device. So the first step in that is going to be enabling a web page publication of this report. So I'll come in and add that as an action back in my project schedule designer. So for that, we'd select Save Worksheet to Web Page. The worksheet's going to be the CIP template sheet that we just added the chart to. And just for simplification of the demonstration, I'm going to just give this a static name of dashboard so they always see the live active cycle, or the most recently processed one, on the Ewon. But of course, if you wanted to catalog each of the reports you're running and show them there, you could do that. It just would require management of a web page, to display that. So let me run the web page version of the report there. I'll come back and I'll save. I'll stop the cycle again. Give it another name, so we can start it again with a new sheet name there. And then I'm going to connect to the FTP server on the Ewon. And in XLReporter, that's done from the FTP transfer interface in the Tools tab of the Project Explorer. And we first have to go in and add a server. So we'll add the Ewon as an FTP server. So the name, we'll give it Ewon. The server is the IP address of the Ewon. And then if you have user and password enabled, obviously you put those in there. It's the same users and password you use to log into the Ewon. You can give it a test. Good, it works. Define my server. Now I'll define a transfer configuration. So we want to do an upload to the Ewon. We'll call this one dashboard. And the source is going to be the web folder of the project. In our case, it's the CIP. We want to run the most recently updated file, so the live one. And then we want to put it into the user folder of the Ewon, and I want to overwrite it every time so the dashboard's always up to date. Now we can perform this. You can see it's successful. And now if I go back into the Ewon web page here, I'll go to System Main Identification, and we can see that I've enabled the default web page to be the user folder of the device, dashboard.htm, exactly where I'm transferring that file to. So if I just go to the IP address itself without putting in the index page, it'll ask me to put my password in again. And we can see that the report that we ran is updated on the Ewon. And as long as that cycle is active, this web page will be updated every 10 seconds along with the cycle report. And so that is basically one flavor of real-time reporting that we can do against the Ewon, monitoring a cycle happening in the process, generating a report as the cycle is occurring, and then uploading that report via FTP to the Ewon's web server so it can be viewed there as the cycle is ongoing.